Hey everybody, welcome to Window to Hollywood with me, Joseph Pearlman, and Eugene Nomura.
Hello.
Our special guest today, we are so excited and honored to welcome Kiki Sukezane. Kiki, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yay!
Yeah. So good to see you.
How have you been, Kiki?
Good. I've been hanging out at home all day, every day.
Yeah.
But I have a shooting tomorrow for the Japanese variety show online.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like I'm joining to the studio shooting with do you know right now they do a screen?
Like a Zoom variety show? Like a talk show?
No, it's like a regular variety show. There's one guest, there's one host. Only one host in the studio, and then there's the chairs, but there's a screen on the chair.
Oh wow!
Oh, really?
And then you can just fit in the screen.
So you're kind of there with like a Zoom, like this screen.
Yeah.
It's on TV
yeah,
with all
they're
these
use,
like
a
different
Google,
screens.
Yeah.
Oh.
Have you ever
Who's
done
the
anything like
host?
that? Have you ever done it? Is this your first time doing something like
this
that?
is first time. And then they're gonna, it's the variety show about my facial palsy right now. Like I have facial palsy right now from after effect of, I had a brain tumor last year. So I had a surgery. And since then, I have now it's hard to move. So they're gonna talk about that. So I'm gonna...
Wow. No, but it's good you're open about it, because
Really
I think
cool.
there's a lot of people that would like try to hide and this and that, but it's like, man.
I mean, it's impossible to hide though, to be an actor as well, because, and then I already booked the show with this face, so.
No, but it's getting better though.
Yeah. It's getting better and better. But.
Yeah, because that's a very sensitive issue. Removing the tumor from the brain and then, it's side effects, but it's getting better. And
How do you feel, Kiki? How do you feel like you're doing? Are you feeling better?
Yeah, I'm feeling much better.
Good.
And I'm gonna try to stay positive.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like rehab you have to do every day or
Things like that.
like Hengo.
Yeah, we could do that every day. We could call each other English like.
I'm sure it's more noticeable to you than it
this.
is for me. It's not the first thing I notice at all.
Yeah.
And I really think it's awesome that you're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to use it as a weapon.
Yes! I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Really cool. Yeah. Kiki, it was I just have to say, this is like a business where I think personality and people are the most important. And I loved working with you. I remembered our work together, and you are such a wonderful person. And that's the thing that I always remember when I think about you, just like how helpful you were with certain things we were talking about. You were helping me work through a situation we had in class with another actor. It just was really, really happy that you wanted to be a part of this, and just really excited to hang out with you again, and very happy to see you last week in master class.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
I greatly appreciate you, and I think you're wonderful, and obviously can't wait to work with you again anytime you want to.
Me too. Let's work.
We will, yeah. We'll play.
No, it's good. I've noticed your English has gotten so much better as well. Your English? Have you forgotten Japanese now?
No, I use Japanese all the time to my girlfriend. But she speaks English, so that's helpful for me to learn.
That's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
I always thought your English. I know it's so funny. I only remember speaking with you in English. I don't speak Japanese. So.
Yeah, no, she's
good with everything now. Yeah, because it's good.
Kiki, what was it like? And I mean, watching, and I'd love to welcome you back anytime. If you want to watch again, what was it like watching the work? I know it was a little while since we worked together, but what was it like for you watching? What were some of the things that you were connecting with?
It's really good for me to watch it like some other people act, because it's really like refreshing feeling. I haven't been in any class for a while because I was like doing recovery and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was really good, like refreshing for me to feel how they felt
That's
and
cool.
like in front of the camera. Like, yeah, and it was really intense.
It got really deep that night. I mean, it was intense for you watching it, or the work was intense?
It was intense watching it.
Mm-hmm.
But then some of the work was really intense too. Like, it was really interesting.
How was it like your first like online acting?
Oh yeah,
session?
yeah.
Like on Zoom. How was that? Like the differences between like, you know, your old classes and then an acting session on Zoom.
I don't know. It's like I've never been in a class where 100 people there. So it might be more nervous, or it can be more private. I don't know.
Yeah. We have 100 people watching in one of the classes. The other classes tend to be closed to auditors, so it's just a class. The master class obviously draws a lot of attention because of the level of the actors. We had Eugene Simon was there. Maybe you remember at the studio. I don't know. He was the actor, the British actor who was on Game of Thrones for 6 seasons. But there's something to me about the level of focus that we're able to get into that I almost forget where I'm at, and we're so in there together. And it's funny with all these people. You know, these are auditors watching, but I love it. I think the level of focus is so cool. And then the other point is that sometimes it's the first time we're able to engage and watch each other the way the producers, writers, directors, and casting directors are actually watching our work. And so sometimes actors can be great in the room, but they don't connect on camera. And now it's like that part of the work where are you affecting change? It's so cool to be able to see it like that. So for me, I'm very surprised at how awesome the experience has been and how deep we're still able to get to, if not deeper at times, with people from all over the world. Yeah.
And then, well, I think especially in Japan, people really should know about how, like, actors in Hollywood practice, how it works in class, because I don't think they can understand if they watch this class in Zoom. Like, they can't understand probably like for the first time what is happening or what's going on, because they don't do that. They don't, and they don't know.
True.
Yeah, and then they don't even know about it, like about how to act in Hollywood.
It's like a dimension that they don't understand.
Yeah,
They didn't know.
yeah. It's like because they create emotions. Like they create anger. They create they just try to do everything by
trying to act the result. Yeah, and they push for it, I think, for
every
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah, so I think
So
it's gonna be really, really good for them to watch. How?
Good. I have another person that feels the same way.
I feel, and sometimes it's a reminder, I think, for a lot of folks, even folks that are not coming from Japan, some of the British actors I work with, Eugene Simon, who was one of the people that performed last week, it's like a reminder that this can be fun, that it has to be fun, that it doesn't have to be painful. I think Eugene talked about when he was working on Game of Thrones, the acting felt so intense. It was like putting together this house of cards where like at any moment it could all fall down, and the thought that it could feel easy and fun and like liberating was so exciting and dangerous. Like it scared him as well too. I do want to say, Kiki, I haven't had a chance to talk to you, but you were phenomenal in Earthquake Bird. Congratulations.
Thank you.
On the movie.
Thank
you
you.
were wonderful. It was so fun to watch you in that. When you think back on that experience, does it feel like a long time ago? Like
it was like, I think right after I was in your class, like right after that I went back to Japan.
Okay.
And I had an audition in Japan because they were shooting in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And like 3 days after the audition, I already started shooting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great.
So that was really good experience.
So you had fun?
Yeah.
Good. You were terrific. Congratulations.
Thank
It
you.
was really, really fun to see.
Thank you. Were you actor or are you actor yourself?
That's a really good question. Yes, and yes. And I'm currently in a new show that's out on Apple Podcasts. It's
Are you serious?
Yeah, I should tell you about it.
What?
It's called Heroics. It's like gay superheroes in space.
What?
It's really fun. Yeah,
Wait, how can I watch it? How can I watch it?
It's called I'm plugging my own show. How exciting! It's called Heroics. 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 You can watch it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. A special guest star. I'll be in the next season as well, but I start on episode 5, 105. The show's great, and what's so exciting about it is 90% of the actors have come from the studio. So the producers are, people that I've worked with. Justin McLaughlin, writer, producer. Annie Chang is also one of our teachers, a series regular level actor in one of J.J. Abrams' last shows. She's a producer and was the casting director. And it was almost all homegrown actors coming out of the studio. So we shot it last fall in a really fun sound studio in Hollywood, and it was so fun. It was like my idea of heaven was showing up to work to do acting, and everybody in there were like people that were, members of the family of the studio. So yeah, I came
fun.
from that. That was my background. I
want to watch it.
Yeah, it's really funny. So episode 5 is where I jump in. I play the sort of leader of these sort of superheroes, like the and the character's name is Professor Bliss. And it's me being crazy and having fun. It's wild.
Wait, so
I grew up.
You are actor like for a long time?
This how it all started was I grew up acting. I went to school for acting. I studied at New York University Tisch School of the Arts, where I'm now guest lecturing, which has been really fun. Studied also at Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. Was a company member of theater companies, the American Repertory Theater at Harvard University, and then started my own theater company in Brooklyn after that. And so I just got swept up in the coaching. It's a long story, but just got swept up in the coaching, but never stopped loving being inside the process, directing, producing, acting, and the coaching is, I feel like I'm going through it with the actors that are there. So I love acting, and I'm so excited that I have something to show for it with this new show on right now. And so yes, that's a good. Thank you for asking that question.
I can tell you love acting from watching Zoom class.
You do.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's fun, and it's fun for me because I did this work. I was I worked with Annie Chang, who's one of our wonderful teachers, actor producer Annie Chang, and she coached me for the role using the work that we do. So it was like, it's been a really beautiful year with regards to things coming full circle and like this sort of, you know, return of all the love and work that I've been putting out there over the years and it coming back and stuff. So yeah, thank you for asking me that. And I should probably, yeah, thank you.
I was having fun with like from watching you in a Zoom little screen, like you're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the adrenaline going.
Yeah, I'm trying to like. It's amazing, you know. It's like the level of connection that we can have like this is amazing. Sometimes we are so connected, you know, with even if we have a lot of folks watching, and I'm thinking sometimes I'm trying to transfer energy to other people, and it's just as easily done like this as it is in person. And then I'm thinking like, you guys, what's the difference if we just close the laptop screen? Are we any less connected? Is the connection based on the electronics, or is it based on like abilities that we're amplifying now more than ever? So yeah, I'm like really all these metaphysical topics I'm really excited about, like how are we able to have this level of connection with each other, because it's so deep at times doing it like this, just like in person. So that's, yeah, I like to, I'm feeling something so the actors can feel it, but I'm not telling them what they should feel. I'm asking a lot of questions, but it's almost like I kind of think of myself as like an energy conductor, like in an orchestra, you know? Like
I think you are.
An energy conductor.
And
Like,
you conduct people in a very specific, good way. That's what you're really good at. I mean, you're just...
It's really interesting, and then you can feel the energy from the screen. So
Good.
it's really amazing.
I think
everybody that comes to that class, you know, 100 of them, they all feel your energy.
Oh, good.
I know it.
But then I feel your energy. I'm feeling your, like Kiki, I'm feeling everybody's energy, and the people that are the most actively watching, I'm feeling them just like I'm feeling the actors. And then it's like, whoa, what are we, at the end of the day, like, what are we doing here? To me, this is so cool because there's so much I don't understand about it all. But I'm glad that that's coming, you know, I'm glad that that's coming across. And it just makes me want to work with, like, I mean, I know we're not, you know, not now, but like, I can't wait to work with you again. Kiki, when did you start acting? Like, what was your first experience of acting?
So I went to Yoko's class. I started to go to UPS Academy when I was 20.
Okay.
So it's 10 years ago. And I went to school for 2 years, and then I moved to LA. And when I was 24 or 24, I booked a Heroes as a regular. And how I booked Heroes was really kind of crazy because I didn't have agent, I didn't have manager. I was by myself. And I used to go to this samurai sword fighting class in Santa Monica. And I was a good friend of this boy who comes every Sunday with his mom. So I was talking to his mom, and his mom was a friend of a casting director because their kids go to the same school or something. So the casting director, Natalie, she was looking for a Japanese girl who can do samurai sword fighting, and they couldn't find anybody from like any Asians, I think. So the casting director asked her, because she knew her boy is going to the sword fighting class.
Mm-hmm.
And then she asked me to send her all the reels I had, and then I had a action reel and stuff, so I sent them my info, and then I got I had an opportunity to go to audition and book the role.
Off of the first audition?
First audition.
Awesome.
I went into NBC studio to do audition, and I performed in front of Natalie at the beginning, but then she said just wait for like 15 or 30 minutes, and then I waited, and then I went back to the casting room, and then there was already like all the producers, directors were there.
Wow.
And then I performed again, and then I booked it.
That's awesome.
And while that was happening, like, you were sort of somewhat new to this. Was it all just kind of crazy? Did you know really what was happening? Were you excited? Were you nervous?
I was so excited, but then, yeah, of course I was so nervous when I went into the audition, but I was so ready too.
Cool, that's awesome.
I was so ready, and then I knew that role was for me because I don't know how it written was like so fit.
Yeah.
So, but then it was really fast. Like, I heard they were looking for a Japanese girl, and then in 4 days I already booked. So it was so fast, and then after I booked, I had nobody with me, so I was looking for like entertainment lawyer.
Oh, sure.
Because I didn't know what to do, like, and then I went to Toronto for 7 months to shoot the show.
Wow.
Actor's life.
I love when Kiki said, when you said I felt so ready. I think that's another version of fun. I sometimes will tell actors fun, like fun can feel cathartic, empowered, invigorated. And I like when you just said ready, like ready, that to me, it feels like that meant fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to have fun like every audition. Otherwise, I can't book.
I think that's a quote right there we need to share with everybody.
Yeah. I had fun auditioning for The Terror as well.
For Terror, yeah. The AMC series.
Yeah,
I watched that whole series. It was great.
I sent like audition videos like 6 times, I think. Like back and forth. Like they gave me direction and stuff. And then after that, I went to casting room like 3 or 4 times. Worked with producer and 2 casting directors and 1 more producer from Ridley Scott studio, not studio, Ridley Scott company. And then, so I passed that, and then at the end, I went to AMC studio, where it was about 20 people there, and then I had to perform in front of them. And there was like me and other girl. But yeah, it was so nervous. I was so nervous, but I had such a fun. And I knew that I booked it right after I act.
Why did you know? What was that feeling that you had? How did you know? How would you describe that feeling?
Because I wanted to, the lines, the size that they gave me was so meant nothing. It's so hard to explain. So
if you need to explain in Japanese, that's fine too. I can translate.
yeah. So what I want to say is like, it was like a gamble for me to get the trigger out at the point, because I still don't know how to use my trigger anytime. Like I can't pull whenever I want, but it happens sometimes like a bomb. So I had a bomb exposure at the audition.
It's so cool to hear that.
Yeah, I used them.
It's so cool.
But I remember I used the energies from the 20 people there. So I could suck everyone's energy inside of me, and then I just explode. It just popped. I was waiting for popping while I was saying lines. I remember.
Well, that's sort of like the hook we talked
Yeah,
about, right?
yeah.
That light up, that explode. I love the way you're describing it, because the way you describe it is closer to what it is. It is this emotional. It's like a blasting out, and then you let it go. There's no controlling it. It's so. Thanks for describing that. That's like just makes my day. I'm like writing notes. It's explosion, actors, But everything you're saying is exactly what we're trying to get to. Is what I'm talking about. If you're not feeling that, something's off. That's so cool that that's how you're working.
I think the trigger that day was other people. Like from looking other people, like I just wanna fuck everybody. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that was good experience.
Wow.
Because I couldn't how do you say explode the bomb?
Explode.
I couldn't explode the bomb till the last test. So I was kind of acting.
And then you let go? Is that?
I didn't know how I pulled my trigger out for that character, but I knew I have it. But I don't know how it just. I don't know how. I didn't know how I could like pull that out.
Yeah.
But then it worked at the test. So after the test, after I booked the show, I took a Leona's private lesson for 2 months before the shooting. And then I could found kind of way to get that trigger out. And it was a music. And then also the finger this movement. Kinda it helped a lot.
Musical hooks are amazing. We use them all the time, and I always talk about Daniel Day-Lewis, the actor, uses musical hooks. And yeah, a piece of music is so powerful. Sometimes the story was Daniel Day-Lewis was working on Gangs of New York, where he played this butcher role that was really sort of jacked up on energy, more than me, maybe. And he was listening to Eminem. So Eminem music was what he was lighting himself up with before the shoot to do that. I think musical hooks are fantastic. I think we used one on one or two on Thursday with Colby. Yeah.
Musical hooks usually they work a lot. Like, I mean, so many things. Like with a play. Or doing a play, this song kicks in, and then you're just, boom, it's there. You're in that mode. I mean, like songs, they bring up like memories, and they bring up former lovers, former situations with friends, this, that.
Yeah, the musical hooks are really cool, and it doesn't matter. So here's the thing. At the end of the day, I mean, whatever you're doing, whether it's we talking about a TED Talk or a UN speech or acting, it doesn't matter as long as you're lit up. I think like there was a beautiful Baudelaire poem from Long Day's Journey into Night about teaching people how to live. And it was like, be always drunken. Drunk on what? Drunk on love, drunk on wine, drunk on virtue, whatever you will, but be lit up. And I think I'm always giving a call to action to the people that I work with is like to live life hot and lit up. Because what we do is everyday life with all the boring parts cut out. So, and when we're lit up, it makes it so we don't have to act. Everybody else is falling all over themselves to effort and do all this stuff. But when you're lit up, and you know it, and it's undeniable, you know, and I don't think there's any, I mean, for me, there's no other way to work because it sets you free and also lights you up. I was just listening to a song yesterday, and it's something, I was listening to a Queen song, Freddie Mercury song, and I was listening to some live versions, and I listened to 5 live versions, and then just one was just the right one, like one activated me. I was like totally activated from it. But you can never find it. It has to be discovered. It's like, I tell actors, they you know, what is that thing that's going to inspire you? You can't find it in your head. You have to discover it. One of my favorite quotes, Kiki, I know Eugene, you've heard it many times, is Einstein's quote, where Einstein says, "No problem can be solved using the same level of consciousness that created it." So you have to change.
What is it in Japanese?
同じこう感覚で作り上げたものを同じ感覚でそこにまたなんつうの感覚だけではいけない。Say that again.
No problem can be solved using the same level of consciousness that made it or created it.
だからこういろんな問題を起こしたそのいろんな内容きっかけみたいなものをまた再現ってなかなかできない。自己的にいろんなこうタイミングだって何かで問題が起きるんだけど、その同じ問題定義を同じ感覚で言っても問題を解決できない。
同じ考えでは問題は解決できないってことですね。同じとこでずっとやってても解決。
It's like Kiki, you were talking about in Japan, like there's another dimension to the training, and so I use this example of like, okay, you have a puzzle, you put the puzzle together properly, you know, and then once the puzzle's together, you've solved it. But if you rip the puzzle up from the roots, there's a face on the underside that you never thought. So there's another quote from Max Planck, who is the father of quantum physics, and he said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you're looking at change. So it's coming at it from another...
translate too.
Yeah, please.
要は一つの絵を違う発想で見たら全く違う絵に見える。人によっては全く同じように見える場合もあれば、ちょっと発想を変えたりアングルを変えることによって全く違う絵に見える。Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Is that? I mean, does that make sense?
That totally makes sense.
Yeah. And so I think the fun is like trying to like whoever you are. I mean, not solving problems linearly or in your head. It's like so part of the work that we do, and you've been a part of, and Eugene's, we're all a part of it, is that there's a level of chaos that has to be triggered in order to pull everything, the right choices in, and to find those hooks. Because if you just try to look for them, they're going to just you're not going to find them.
Yeah.
So we have to embrace a chaos in a way, I think.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, trigger is like, it's not. If you find a trigger with this, but then this doesn't work any time. So like when I was shooting The Terror, I was prepared like probably like 3 or 4 triggers just in case like that doesn't work, because I don't know, like for me the same stuff doesn't work all the time.
Yeah.
At all. So I don't know, it's so hard. And then, so for the shooting on set, you shoot like the same scene over and over again. Like, I don't know, 5 times, 6 times. So, but then for me, the first take, if there's one scene I really want my bum explore, I asked DP to shoot my face first, like close up first, instead of from Hiki. because I knew if we shot from Hiki, I lose.
Kiki is so, from afar. If the shots.
I got it. Okay.
So she asks to shoot the close-ups first because she knows she can explode.
That's fantastic.
Right?
Yeah, because otherwise I will lose it at the beginning because I start from like a cup filled and then it's getting less and less like 回を重ねるごとに
So the more she does the same hook, it starts to lessen. The power of the hook starts to lessen is what she's thinking.
Can I jump in and I don't want to...
Sure.
But Kiki, are you finished with what you were saying about that? I don't want to jump on your...
Yeah, I'm finished. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So after all the work is done and we get to the point, because like I always say, you cannot figure out what that trigger hook explosion is in your head. It has to be born and discovered. And once you've done all that work, then you can go in infinite directions with it. That's like we talk about the opposite choice and then another choice and what's more dangerous than that. And I think that sometimes a hook will work for once or a certain amount, but once all the work is done, it's easy because I think that'd be really fun to work on when we're working, but is in shooting out different ones without having to think about it too much, changing it, going in an opposite direction or something. Because I think the best hooks, triggers, explosions are not directly related to the text. Because in life, we don't say everything we feel. In acting, we show what we feel and what we mean, and then the text is coming out behind. So I think that I totally agree with you. I think there's like, okay, that's fun, but you can sort of rapid fire out an infinite amount of hooks. And I think if the work is really planted, the seeds are in you, then it should be easy to kind of go in any direction with it. And I also kind of feel that once the work is done and it's really strong in your body, that it's almost like you can let it alone if you want. You know what I mean? You can like leave it alone. But I do believe in the importance of that explosion, that hook in the beginning to make it so you don't have to do any acting. Every scene you are lit up emotionally instead of empty and cold. So it would be fun to play around when we next work with how do you just go in any direction, like how do you change it up really fast. I don't know if that would be useful. Would love to play with that at some point. Yeah,
that's perfect for Kiki. No, I think she'll go this end and then we'll go to that end. But okay, I'm ready again.
But Kiki, whatever you're doing is working and you're capable of fixing it and doing it. But I would just, if I could help to make it easier, do you know what I'm saying? Or like more fun, or you don't have to think about what am I going to do now?
If I start thinking, I lose everything.
Yeah, no, that totally, absolutely. Because the head sucks the emotion right out of it. It just pulls it right out. So yeah, that's the fun. One of my clients said, he was in the Twilight Saga. He said, it's so hard before it's so easy. And then when all the work is over, it's so easy. We can play. It's like, okay, what's the opposite of what I was just doing? And try to break it and try to throw it up. I think the key words are something one of the wonderful actors, Hugh Scott, says in class is throwing an audience off balance by throwing yourself off balance. And if you can throw yourself off balance emotionally, it's almost like falling backwards into it. There was this beautiful movie called Inception, Christopher Nolan. And am I right, Eugene? Was it Christopher Nolan?
Yes.
And did you see that one, Kiki, Inception?
Long time ago.
Yeah, me too. The actors sort of go into this sort of alternate, this other reality, but then they have to come back to this reality, and they have this kick. It's called a kick. It's almost like the chair falling backwards. They can't try to do it. They have to fall. It has to be an accident. And that's how the hooks have to feel, like an accident. It can't be something you're trying to do. But again, it's fun to talk about it. It's even more fun to do it. I mean,
that's the most fun. That's
some
the
point,
most fun.
I was looking at all the sites that Eugene sent me from, what is it, like open call for
CIS. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was like 20 sites for women.
Yes. Did you? Was there anything you liked?
I don't know if I like it or not, but
You don't have to
4
choose
つぐらい
anything,
まで
no?
に絞って、
4つ?
今とりあえず4つまで絞ったんですけど、
She's narrowed her choices down to about 4.
Oh, cool.
Four
Yeah.
scenes.
I mean, in terms of like, you mean like when we're going to be doing work at some point another day, you mean? Like when we're working
Yeah,
on that?
yeah.
Yeah, I think, Kiki, here's the other thing. Like, when we work on something, you can work on anything you want to work on. It doesn't have to be NCIS. I could work with
yeah,
you
but
on
I,
any...
I don't have
Look-
anything that I want to work on.
What I think... Yeah, but because like NCIS, I mean, like, I'm not going to... I think... I'd love to see you work on something really high level, and one of the fun things is why don't I, during the course of all the currently casting stuff I'm working on, if there's something, and again, don't know when we're going to do this, but if there's something, why don't I send it to you and then you can tell me what you think, because I really want it to be something you can like sink your teeth into, and that's going to be really fun for you, because
Yeah.
some of the pieces that we're working on are like non-disclosure agreement stuff, so there's some really fun stuff that I would love to, but I can't do that. But there's a lot of other stuff too that I think
Yeah.
Eugene, as you're a part of the classes, if there's something you think could be fun too, also let me know. But
Yes.
yeah,
definitely.
I'm so excited to work with you again, Kiki.
Yes, me
It's gonna be
too.
fun. It's gonna be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be fun and it'll be challenging for me.
It's always challenging.
Yeah,
That's the fun for, yeah, it has to be challenging. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I feel the same way. It's always a challenge. There's no... Joaquin Phoenix describes this sort of feeling of, I don't know what it's going to be. There was some really... It was some great thing that Joaquin Phoenix said where he was working on the Joker and he had an idea of how to play the character, and he said it made his ego feel really good, and he felt really good he had an idea, but when he got to set, none of it worked. And they shot a couple weeks and then they had to redo it because he was stuck on an idea instead of discovering it. There's a really beautiful quote I'd love to... Stella Adler quote, Eugene. I've mentioned it many times. She said, facts, F-A-C-T-S, facts are death to an actor until they're fed through imagination and become experience. So I just love it because it's like, here are the facts I know in my head, but it's not my experience yet. I don't feel it.
要はこう事実こういうことがあるって頭で理解してても実際に自分が経験をして体感してクリエイティブに放出していかないと実際ものにならない。どうやったって。Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Kiki? Is that
I agree.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of Japanese actors won't know to agree. I think they'll try to act what this is.
I mean, they don't. Yeah.
Right? I think. It'll be interesting to
I
Find
think
out.
a lot of them can't even understand what we were talking about. Like, because they have totally different system for acting. So it's a different dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How is it?
different
How is it for you when you work in Japan?
I adjust to Japanese acting.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
Well,
No, I
I mean, it's
understand that, but
easier
how do you
though.
do
It's
that?
easier there because like you can just pretend. But
Without living it.
I try to live it if it's possible. But you
I
know,
totally understand. See, you could pretend like you're a cop. Like let's say what
Yeah.
we're talking about is acting as a human being before a cop. You're human, but you pretend like you're a cop and you act like you're a cop.
and they
And
like
you're a
it.
cop.
So and the audience like it too. It's like, and TV shows in Japan sometimes looks like cartoon. Because they if there's a kiss scene, the face and face getting closer and closer, taking time, like 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then they finally kiss and stop, and like music.
Nothing goes further than that.
But I'm wondering if they don't know the difference, if they see the real thing and they see the real thing, would that also, do you know what I'm saying? Like how do they know they like it better? But what if they could, I mean, I think this is the fun of this conversation of what if that audience could actually see it coming from the inside out? Could it potentially be more interesting or more fun to watch?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, definitely. Because I think a lot of people are starting to watch, various shows globally, thanks to all the streaming and everything.
And then I'm sure like a lot of actors in Japan knows how it works, like knows the difference between Hollywood and Japan, but they just don't have experience like with their body. So that's, I think they know in their brain probably, like they don't know.
And then if they experience it, I think it's closer to kabuki, I think, maybe.
In Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, because No and kabuki is the traditional acting in Japan.
But even though, like No and kabuki, there's so much inner life, even though there's the makeup and the look and the this and the that, and there's a lot of, but like most of the kabuki actors, they're crazy in real life. I mean, I'm friends with a few of them, but I mean, they're wild. They're wild people, man. I mean, they're not like traditional Japan at all. They're all rule breakers, and they're like rock and roll stars in real life.
There's a great story. Marlon Brando used to talk about how he would test a director on set. He's an actor. Marlon Brando was notorious to be pretty difficult to work with sometimes, and he would test the director and he'd give 2 takes and he'd see which one the director picks. And one take was where he was coming from the inside out, and the other was just a showing of it, we call it an indication of it without really feeling it. And if the director picked the one that was just the showing of it, he wouldn't give a shit anymore. He wouldn't show. He wouldn't care about it at all. And if the director chose the one where he's coming from the inside out, then he'd be very engaged in the process. I thought it was very interesting, and to kind of test the director. One of his, The Score was a movie where he, for some reason, did not get along with the director. I think it was Frank Oz, and told Robert De Niro that I want you to direct me in all of my scenes. I don't want this guy to direct me. So again, it could be just he's an actor that was being difficult, but he's also a genius. And I'm not advocating being difficult on set. I'm just saying that I like where he's coming from. I think it's gonna be fun to. I'm just so excited to bring this work to people who never, who would never even think that it exists. That's gonna be fun to do.
That's gonna be so exciting.
Yeah.
I hope a lot of people is gonna watch it.
I hope so too. I mean, I think it's the start. You're our first guest, so I think we're very privileged to have you as
so
the first
lucky.
guest.
We're like the coolest first guest I could
so
imagine.
Too.
So yeah, I'm really honored.
And then it's funny how you brought up The Score, because Gary Foster is the producer. He's kind of like my mentor, and he's a producer, and he has so many of these stories with Brando and De Niro and Edward Norton on set. It's hilarious.
So there's a lot of bullshit that happened on set.
A lot.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's all good. And it's all so human, and everybody else it might be hell for a few people, a few days here and there, but ultimately at the end of the day, there's so many good stories in there.
Yeah.
And it's the same. It feels like and no matter what caliber you are, when you're on a film set, it's similar everywhere. They'll be like with probably like Kiki working in a U.S. thing, and then like you'll have a lot of stories that have Japan involved, but it's portrayed in a Western way, so it's not really Japanese, or vice versa, you know, like, so there's a lot of that, and there's always this extra, we actually need this extra step to communicate a little more. If we could do that a little more, then everything would be much better. Everything will be much smoother, and both countries, or whatever countries that are involved, would be more happy. But it's interesting that you're, like, what was your goal? Because I remember I talked to Kiki before in this article that we did, and not how you started acting, but why you chose becoming an actor.
Like when I was 18, 19, I was looking for what I wanted to do in my life, and I was working already at the bar and stuff. So and then I wanted to do humanitarian work, but not voluntary. So, but then I didn't know anything about it. So I went to Tanzania when I was 20 by myself as a backpacker, and I met this guy from US. He was working in South Sudan, like helping this village. So I was talking to him about his life, and I wanted to do something like he was doing, but then he told me that I have to go to university in US, and then I have to graduate, and then I have to go to university again to take degrees or something. And so like I didn't have money for that. I couldn't afford, like my family couldn't, do that. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, I was always interested in films, TV shows. I wanted to be in shows. So I decided to become famous and use my name to somehow, I wanted to help like somebody from being famous. You can, use your power to help people. That's what I thought. So I came to US to pursue acting in Hollywood, not in Japan, because Japan is a bit smaller.
Well, it's smaller than California.
Yeah, and then, like the amount of, if you book Hollywood film, people all over the world is gonna watch. So it's faster to be famous. So that's how.
Has anything changed after working since then?
Since then, you mean has?
Like at working and people started recognizing you, this, that, and what your goals are. Have your goals changed?
No, my goal will never change.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm getting, like if there's a goal here, I was here. I'm probably like
slowly, surely getting close to it. Very. Oh, that's great.
Slowly, but yeah, I'm working on it.
So it's like it's interesting because it's like a lot of people. I'm not one of them, but a lot of people, they want to become an actor, and then they want to get famous, and then their goal is within that acting range.
Yeah.
The actor's life range. But it's about helping people, or humanitarian work, or stuff like that, And then so it's more like an acting thing. It's a tool to get to where you want to get to.
Yeah.
Because most of the people that are like in Los Angeles and the people that we talk to, it's about, they want to be, their goal is to get an award, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't know what gets them out of bed in the morning. They don't know what makes them, and I think it's so beautiful to be very clear about what really gets you out of bed in the morning.
And I think if you I don't know, for my experience, like if you set the goal farther
Further away.
farther
Harder to
away, I think these like little goals like you can get these little goals like so fast.
Yeah.
And you try to like if
I
my goal
agree.
if my goal is to become an Hollywood actor, then I was still maybe like I couldn't get a role, or I'm still in the in a learning process, or so I kind of skipped those process
Yeah.
for
No,
that
I agree.
further role, further goal.
I know.
I wrote a piece and I did a video for Backstage called How to Teleport to an A-list career. And I think a lot of people feel like they have to climb the rungs of the ladder or climb a mountain, but it's possible. I love, Kiki, I still love what you say to like, and I don't think a lot of people in general are clear enough about what they really want, what gets them up out of bed in the morning, because based on quantum theory, people can, you can teleport, you can wormhole, you can get from that one place and all the little things fill in if you're clear about what you want and you have such a beautiful clarity. I love, you just said to help people on a big level using the fame. And because I think that you can feel that now. We talk about like you can feel what it would feel like now, and when you feel that and you're clear about that, it gets you to having that faster, basically. So I love the way you described it, Kiki, with all the little things fill in. I just think most folks don't have a clarity about what they really want. They're so caught up in one of the people that I work with, Annie Chang, who's one of the producer on the show I'm on, and she's one of our wonderful coaches. She said to actors, don't let your need or want to be liked get in the way of your best acting or get in the way of showing people who you really are. And I think so many people have such a short focus on it. So I love that long bullseye focus of helping people on a global level. It's so cool.
I think, I completely agree. I mean, I've seen, when you're in the business for a very long time and you have people that actually aim to become famous just to become famous, and they get an award, and let's say they get it, and then they're dreamless.
Right.
It's done. They're already finished. It's like, my dreams came true already.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, now what? And then the search goes on, and sometimes people get very arrogant and disappear from the business.
Right.
Or, it's like, there's a friend in Japan that he started probably around the same age as I did, and he was in a group, a big boy group in Japan. And when we were 18, we were in this like school drama, and he was telling me his dreams was to do this, and I was like, whoa, that's pretty damn big for an 18-year-old who's in a boy band. But he made them all true. All his dreams came true by the age of 25. And then, since then, he's like an old man now. Everybody knows him in Japan. I'm not going to say his name, but he's a good friend. And I'm like, now what are you going to do? He's like, well, I don't know, man. I mean, I have enough money in the bank. I could buy several buildings and this and that. So, I don't know, but I'm scared to walk around outside and this and that, So in that way, he has all the fame, all the money in the world, but I bet you I'm happier than him.
Well, it comes down to that. It's like, what do people really want? They want the happiness and peace of having achieved that. And if they're so focused on the goal and not why they do it. I mean, we talked a lot about this author Simon Sinek. People don't care what you do. They care why you do it. Like your why. And if your why is powerful, people are going to get excited. What do you believe? What gets you up in the morning? And Kiki's story, I mean, what you said is so specific, is helping other people. I'm assuming it makes you happy to help other people like that.
It's like same as finding a character too. Like you gotta find a need in a character. Like main need. like not like a little knees, but if you found like this base big bone, yeah, it's, I don't know, life, it's characters life.
It is life.
That's a secret. Don't tell anybody. There's a part of the work called Primal Whimper, Primal Scream. Ben Kingsley, the actor, talked about it some years ago to me, and it was, there's a movie that he did called Sexy Beast, where he played just a really bad guy, like somebody who's really bad, like a dangerous bad guy. But in terms of that need, he said that primal whimper, primal scream, which is, I think, that need you're talking about. He said he always grew up, he had so much love to give. His heart was so big, but nobody ever gave it back. And that's what made him into the monster. So the primal whimper, the need, and I think it's important, I always think that the work that we do is we talk it out loud, not think it in our head. So his primal whimper, primal scream was, I love you, why the fuck can't you love me back? You know, it's like and what that does to have so much love and nobody gives it back, that's what makes him. And it was really cool. And it was sort of his need in that movie. I have a question for you, Kiki, and then I think, what's the next big thing for you? What are you most excited about? What do you most want to do? What would feel really fun to sink your teeth into?
For acting?
Acting-wise, or anything-wise. It could be humanitarian stuff, or acting, either one.
I don't know. I mean, I want to do film, but I haven't had any audition lately. So I'm just practicing piano.
Great.
And I don't know.
You also sing too, yeah?
I mean, I released a couple songs in Japan. But it's just a hobby kind of stuff.
Yeah. What is it like in Japan right now? I know in the US there's a lot of production that's on hold, but there's so much going on with new projects being developed, auditions happening, lots of things. So it's very busy for actors with audition stuff, even though some projects are on hold. In Japan, is it, we don't have to go too into it, but is it still very much in a lockdown type of situation?
Well, in Japan, it's, I guess all the shootings for film and TV series are now on hold. But they're still shooting for like talk shows and variety shows and stuff like that. And then, well, they don't really have auditions in Japan, so it's
not many. There were more auditions when I was younger, but recently, and then if you're after a certain place as an actor in Japan, there are no auditions. You know, it's like you're booked. Or they'll know you which agency and who's your manager, and then you're automatically booked. So it's a whole different ballgame.
It's almost like the way it used to be here with the studio system. You're under contract and you just get work. Your work comes up in a way. Yeah.
It's like agent hire actors, and actors work for agent.
Yeah.
Well,
actors work for their agents.
I don't know. Do we talk about that? Yeah.
But that's kind of
I hope the
system.
agents are good.
But the kind
yes,
of...
like you do everything by yourself. Like you find an audition, you go into the audition, like you book and you get a check and then you pay, you divide it from your check or something. But in Japan, like a lot of agents pay you salary and you work whatever they give you.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the agency, but a lot of the agencies have relationships with other agencies and the networks. So automatically it's like, okay, this guy from your company, this guy from this company. Okay, how about my guy from this company? And then these are the three leads. Okay, network. Who else should we put in? And it'll automatically be packaged. Is kind of the real thing. And then depending on the agent, some agencies they take 80%, 90%.
Oh, wow. Holy cow.
Really. But
that's interesting. I didn't know that.
But you don't have to worry about work because they will definitely book you in everything. So it kind of depends on the agencies. It's a whole different system.
And do they pay you a salary even when you're not on a job? Do they sort of keep... Okay, so that's interesting as well too.
It depends. It depends on the person. And sometimes, so the actors, a lot of the actors in Japan, they don't actually know how much their fee is. Right? It's like, whoa.
And then it's like it's gonna taboo that, like it's gonna, you can't ask them how much before shooting.
Yeah, they kind of decide in the midst of it, and then you get paid like 3-4 months later.
Yeah, so
Usually.
so I don't usually know how much I'm gonna get from the shooting till end shooting.
Yeah, that's most of the actors that are in legit, rather large agencies are like that. And then if you're in those little ones with just like started out with just you, and then people started gathering, and then it became a group of 5, 10 to 10 actors, and then usually it's like you get 70% out of the 100%, and 30% goes to the management company, and then but they do everything, the scheduling, the publicity. They're the ones that work with if it's a film, they'll work with the distribution company about all the schedules. In Japan, everybody works constantly on other things. So nobody's just, hardly. They're usually working on like 2-3 films simultaneously and stuff. Whole different system.
Kiki, it seems like a whole different system. Kiki, I'm assuming you're familiar with how things work in the U.S. as well, too, because you've spent so much time here, correct?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
So I guess you've seen both. I think one of the interesting things is that for actors is that they don't know when the next job's going to be, but it's neat that, do you have a preference for one way or the other, or it's okay if you don't want to talk about it, but...
I prefer working in U.S. though.
The way it works in the US.
Yeah. It's much funner.
Yeah.
For shooting, like for acting wise, like it's more creative. Like you have the right of saying, like you can speak to your producer, your director, you can say whatever you want in US. But in Japan you can say, but I don't know, it depends. It's a power balance.
More things to think about.
Yeah, I think
more
a
things
lot
to
of,
think about.
Things. Yeah.
Kiki, are you? I feel like I should know this. Are you currently in Los Angeles, or are you in Japan?
I live in LA.
Okay, that's what I thought. It's so nice out today.
Yeah.
Isn't it beautiful? It's like
it's so nice.
Pretty out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice every day.
It is nice every day. Actually, that is true. It is nice every day. We have our moments, but yeah, that's so good. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Oh man,
looking forward to the session.
I can't wait.
Yeah, can you please find sites for me?
We should do that soon.
I'd love to. Yeah, Kiki, I will look for some great sites for you, and we'll do that. And I am very excited. Like I said, I loved working with you. I was so excited to see you on Thursday. Thank you for hanging out with us today to talk about everything and sharing who you are. It was really awesome.
Yeah, no, it's such a pleasure having you, because you're very open, and you're a lovely human being.
Yes.
That's great.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us today. I was so happy to share this. Thank you again to our very special guest, Kiki, for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
ありがとうございました。
Eugene, for doing this with me. I'm so excited to kind of go on this adventure. And I couldn't be more happy for Kiki for you to be our first guest on this. So thank you very much again.
Thank you.
So appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Kiki. ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
Be well. Take great care of yourselves, you guys, and we cannot wait to see you again for the next one.
またです。バイバイ。